looking at, ain't like I slept with her. Ain't like we laid in the bed and we were kissing and hunching on each other. But he said, if you look at them, so we start looking at how important it is to understand the method of the inner working of a man. Y'all got it? The inner working, because this a lot of time what puts us in violation with it. There's some things that's obvious that we can see, that's transgression. Like if I see that man saying turn up a fifth of liquor, what we thinking? That might be wrong. We know it's wrong, but there's some things that might be in his heart. You can't see it with your naked eye. But when the word comes, the word gives that opportunity to find it. But every one of it ain't just, I'm gonna be watching him. I'm gonna see how he look, what his reaction is when I say certain things. If it cut him, well, it's gonna cut you too. Yeah. That's why it's two-edged. Yeah. Something when you go in a swing and cut, it cut you too. Yeah. It's meant to do that. The man hell to get cut with it. Yeah. Some of these cool sisters probably been using a knife, been cut, and then look up there, they've been cutting something, look at it, like, I done cut myself. That's how sharp it is. Don't even realize that wasn't your intent, but since you were handling it need to get you too. So when the bar comes, the word, it's designed to make sure everybody get cut. Yeah. Y'all got it? Yes, everybody get cut so you understand how sharp and how quick it is. Sometimes you cut yourself, you say, ooh, that thing be stinging here later, still in effect. Y'all ever had that you cut yourself and like it get worse the more it go. Ain't that right? Like, goodness, like the thing I got worse than the first time I cut it because it's working on you. It's weighing on you. And that's how the word works. It's designed not to just cut and go, because if it cut and go and you heal quick, then you don't have nothing to consider. Y'all got it? All right, let's look at this. This is Romans chapter 15, verse 4. And we'll start here. Listen.
For whatever Nikatab.
So Nikatab was written. That's important for us. The Katab is the writings. So now we learned that the writings was written aforetime. And what happened?
Before.
So it was written so it could limit us, which is to teach us, which is going to be a combination of sight, hearing. Y'all got it? All these things are important for you to see it. Like they said, seeing is believing. You ever heard that before? Yes, and then you got the hearing part of it. So there's a protocol, or there's an objective in getting us to understand teaching different than just somebody just told me something. It's making sure you got all of it from the appearance to the knowledge of. So when we look at knowledge, we're gonna look at the word called da'ath, right? I think it's up here. Da'ath is the word we use for knowledge. At the bottom, right here, da'ath. So this is the Abari word for knowledge. Y'all got it? So when we start looking at these different things, we're going to try to make sure we got an understanding about them. And of course, we understand things because we've been taught from an English perspective, but it's important to kind of look at things at how did they see it? Y'all got it? Mm-hmm. We want to know how did they see it. Again, the reason why I say that is because, I think people in general, black, white, Asian, everybody, you can take everybody back to the source of where it starts at. What happened? People are leaving, people are starting to try to associate it with them versus let's associate with the actual facts of what happened. Let's get out of the color. Let's get out of all the other things we use that kind of divide us, that make us break off. Because you ask yourself, on the day of what they call Ukak Shabur, that they call Pentecost, everybody heard the same thing. So when people went back to their region, how did we come up with all these different methods? How did we come up with all these different ideologies? Because people over the course of time started to look at things the way they see it and the way their culture is. But he already cultured the way before we came in. So if we go back to Adam, we go back to people that were here who he established covenants with. The word for covenant we look at is Berit. So we want to look at what did he establish. Now, what would this Berit, what was it based upon? See, if you don't look at it the way they saw it, this is the thing you got to see. This is for me, you, everybody. We're trying to obtain something they already got. How many of y'all got a high school diploma? So how many of y'all kids don't have a high school diploma? I'm gonna need a check from all these kids. There's a lot of kids in here, midgets and dwarfs, already got diploma. So these kids are trying to obtain something we already got, correct? Right. Well, when we're trying to obtain this relationship with him, we're trying to obtain something they already had. So why would I watch you? Why wouldn't I follow the same path? You already have it. I'm trying to obtain it. Abraham wasn't trying to obtain it. After he received it, was he still trying to obtain it? No, he was trying to guard it, protect it, and make sure it wasn't lost. For us, we're trying to gain something. So it's important to go back and look at things from the perspective of how did they view it? Y'all got it. How did you see it? You know, so what was your understanding? So understanding should, understanding should be biynah, I think that's B-I-N, I think it is. B-I-N-A, B-I-N-E, they don't put B-I-N-E should be the word, should be for knowledge. I'm sorry, for understand or understanding. But nah, there's one word for it because you got understanding, you got understanding. So we want understanding that exceeds. There are a lot of things we want to set back and consider. Even we talked about for wisdom. See, the way we look at wisdom is and it's a total difference in how what their perception was of wisdom. When they look at things like we look at a person being wise, or a person being wisdom, we look at the wisdom that comes from Elohim, which is Elohim with him is, you know what I'm saying, is the most powerful, the Almighty. You got what I'm saying? So we look at the wisdom that he gave. And he showed his wisdom to be smarter than or more effective than other people's wisdom. Because he used them to compare against all the wisdom of the wise. He's out-compared against my wisdom. He's out-compared against all the wisdom of the Ras, the whole land, the whole alarm, the whole world, and show you what wisdom makes sense. And what we'll do, we'll sit down and we'll try to have a word contest, a spelling contest, pretty much how we do things. That's how we pretty much grade people. Now let's do a spelling contest. Let's do a math contest. Let's do a history contest. We'll do all these things to try to prove ourselves, but how they understood a lot of things were a lot different. So that biynah, understanding, and meaning, see, perfectly. Understanding perfectly is what we're trying to do. You can understand something, but you don't really have, it's kind of vague in a sense. You know what I'm saying? I kind of know what you're talking about. We want to get past kind of knowing.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? There's an understanding that exceeds that.
That's right.
Okay? And that's what we're trying to get. But that understanding comes from one person. Okay? Well, we'll finish what we have right quick, and we'll come back. Yahuah willing, we'll talk about that. So now what's important for us to understand is for whatever, don't make a difference what was written. Was Qatar written before? That was written, Qatar, to show us and teach us. That's why we go back and look at it. See, when you don't have that, you don't look at, think about it, as a Christian, early in doing things, you pretty much looked at certain things, you didn't really pay a lot of attention to it because really you try to get the stuff that's easier for you to catch on to and know.
Right. Right.
The Lord is my shepherd. How long did it take you to understand? Lord, man, you can recite it. It just, okay. It's not argumentative. It's not something you really got. Okay, that's what it is. We try to look at that. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. We look for things that give us life. It doesn't put us through a whole lot to try to dissect, to try to figure. But then he lets you know that whatever was written only to show you and to teach you an instruction. So now when I go back and look at things, when I write what they call the Old Testament, which I call the first Berith, which is the first covenant. Y'all got it? So we're trying to look at the first covenant that he established. Then when I go back to read it, I want to read it as an insignificant. As a Christian, you pretty much get to the Old Testament. You cover the Old Testament stuff you do keep. The Lord of my shepherd, I share the 23rd Psalm. Nobody, Christian, Old Testament, nobody argue with 23rd Psalm. Oh, that's just not happening. I'm yet to find folk go to fight and tear up a play by the 23rd Psalm. If my people call by my name, humble themselves to pray and seek my face, turn from their wicked way, then will I hear them, forget their sin, heal the land. People don't argue about things. It's when it starts to give them, when it comes into a direct conflict. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? When it comes into adultery, when it comes in, that's argumentative. A lot of things, you know what I'm saying? You start looking for reasons that you feel like you can get out of, but it's important to go back and look at these things with a different set of eyes in a sense. So that way, and with some guidance, so you can get a clear-cut understanding of how things more or less kind of transform into where they are today. Y'all got it? From the Rosha, which is the wicked, to the tube that you see people that still stand, that you see Sadiq, righteousness, it still has a consistency. It hadn't moved, it hadn't went away, it hadn't played out. It still remains the same. Y'all got it? Mm-hmm. Let's see. So we got that. So that through endurance, which is patient, going through without quitting. So we want to understand the purpose of why. This is stuff years ago, I just read it. You run through it. It's kind of like something that run through you, almost like a lecture. You just run through it. You don't pay a whole lot of attention. I mean, you got to give me to the meat. Give me to Jesus. Give me to something, make me feel good. Give me somewhere. But not all that should make you feel good when you understand this.
That's right.
We understand. I only wrote all of this. This is only written to show you, to teach you, instruct you, so that you can go through and don't do what? To show you how prevalent, how evident it is. Look at how many people walk away from it and give it up.
Yeah.
And guess why they go through? Because I don't know what the writing was for.
Right.
I told the 23rd Psalm out my Bible and put it over top of the toilet. or open the Bible up and leave it on the coffee. Y'all motherfuckers that leave it on the coffee table. When I was growing up, we put a 23rd, we put a 4-leaf clover in there, except for good luck. Man, that green stuff smushed all over that page. I get that little weed got tired. But things like that happen because you have understanding that everything you're looking for from him, you're looking for love. Okay, maybe it's a chance maybe it's a chance I have a Rolls Royce when I go outside. What's the chance of it? Only if I'm gambling lucky, if I'm playing something outside of what he said. Anything that's gonna happen from him, by him, is gonna happen based off the relationship, based off of what he's established he'll do. So for me to be looking for a car, or looking for this house, looking for something, and my behavior, my conduct is not evident or prevalent to what he's established, it makes no sense. But pretty much religion teach you to wish for things that make absolutely no sense. Save me while I'm drunk. It's impossible. You have people say that, he saved me when I was drunk one time. Couldn't have. Don't make sense. Right. You know what I'm saying? Your faculty is impaired. This is for a man or woman to be in a conscious state. Because there are things you got to consider. Especially when you're talking about when you're hearing the debate. We're talking about dawah, we're talking about knowledge. Right. When you're talking about knowledge, you need to be in a certain place. Mm-hmm. Y'all got it? So he even teaches you how to obtain wisdom. That all of these things can reflect, all of them they can reflect, that people can see them. Y'all got it? And it shows in behavior. That's how they understood certain things. The way we understand things, it's a little different, okay? So we want our understanding to exceed. Y'all got it? Sure. Okay, so now we're trying to look to go through without quitting. So how I'm gonna do that? Lift some weights, get up every morning, run 4 miles. What I'm gonna use? If I do anything other than this, I'm gonna fail. Because now I'm going to my own understanding. Mm-hmm. So now, when I look at this, and I had a problem, one of my biggest problems was quitting. I was a major quitter. So at the time, this wouldn't make sense to me because I was a quitter. It wouldn't happen. But now it makes sense. And I realized that going through looking at, there are so many different relationships that happen with people that are somewhat different in the sense of how we see things today. But you can still see a relationship. You can see correlations, how a lot of things are people, you can relate to them. You can relate to how they did things. Even a lot of time, we try to relate ourselves with people who were consistent, which a lot of time is hard to do, especially when you're inconsistent. We more or less relate with people that weren't consistent. We relate more or less with people the failure people that failed to do. And that people that fail to, people that rebel, people that more or less we don't want to. We want to relate with those people. Let's just be practical. Who you more closely relate to? Mm-hmm. How many of y'all here more relate to Abraham, who was consistent in everything he did? How many of y'all relate with Adam, somebody who started out and he got turned aside because of the influence of somebody else, but you don't want to think about it. You're trying to relate to who though? Who do you closely relate to? Just said be practical. That's why he wrote it. So what happened? You saw influence. You saw a man that was moved by influence. How many times people try to influence you? Come ride with me. You know they ain't up to good. I'm telling you, we're going somewhere and play. By the time you get here, man, we've been here a while. I'll tell you, people, that's how they get you. You tell somebody, see, just ride with me over here. Ride with me over here, mean, wait a minute, go somewhere else. Come back, when you thinking, how I get it? Yeah. Guess what? Adam, no doubt, had the same mindset. Ain't that right? How I got him. See, that you don't want to associate, you don't want to think about it. You don't want to think about people who failed to comply. People that, he talked about the rebels, the people that rebelled. That's you, that's me. That's who we more closely relate to. So when you look at these people you more closely relate to and how he cut these people off and they didn't get a chance, you think about now, I consider the recalm and the concede, which is the favor. So now I'm understanding I got this by favor and not by works. And he showed you that when he wants you to go through here looking not quick, because now when you see people that more closely relate to you, and I cut them off without another chance, and I gave you how many chances? Yeah. See, now you realize something. You're indebted to me. Now you became a debtor because you consider that could have been me. How many times we read Adam messed up in the gun? That was it third, because when they was in Vermont by the wilderness, he said they did it 10 times. How many of y'all only messed up 10 times? 9, 8, 7. How many times you messed up? He cut off some people and he swore they would never get in. They messed up 10 times. How many of y'all, you couldn't even count how many times you messed up? So guess what? Guess what? Make you feel that that indebtedness. It's the fact when we go back and read and see people, he cut them right off. You're thinking, should I even be here? Should I even be thinking? Guess what gets you to do that? When we go back and look at what was written before time, that he actually allowed people to go through, make some of a mistake that you look at. That's tight. I know I've done about worse than that many times. And these people were cut with no repentance, with no returning, no gathering back in. But now you indebted. Now you're indebted and you're appreciative for the fact that you understand that this ain't something I could earn. It's because of the things you've done, it drove you to get him. That's just being honest. It's because of the things you've done, that's what got you him. That's right. It's because of the thing we did wrong. That's what drove us to want to get right.
That's right.
See, sometimes we wonder why a person does wrong. It goes that way because the Torah has to be right.
That's right.
Ain't that right? The Torah has already graded every man, the law. There's no man ever be justified in his sight with the Torah. It's just impossible. There's too many rituals. There's too many rules. There's too many regulations. There's no way you can keep them all. If it was, it would make no sense to save you by con. It makes sense to save you by grace. I'm sorry, be saved to you by works.
Right.
Yeah, it would. It would make sense to grade you by works because works will save you. It's because you couldn't. Now, a lot of times when people hear that, they'll find that for a reason to say, then it justified the behavior. No. See, it's because of the fact I understand. It's the fact that I'm acknowledging that the works won't save me and the works won't put me in. It makes me want to do it. I owe him that. I owe him that. It's the fact that he looked at, he allows you to realize where you should be and where you ain't. And it don't make no sense for you to be where you at. I'm talking about none. That's why I want to do it. I owe him this. See, when it works, I don't owe nobody nothing. I would never walk off my paycheck and tell I appreciate this favor. It's not no favor. You give me what I owe. You give me what you owe me. Right. Why would I tell somebody I appreciate them for giving me what they owe me? That's retarded. You owe me that. Well, when it comes to con, which they call grace, when it comes down to concede, which is favor, well, you got to be a little more humility. That's what they teach you. Debt gets you humility.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Here to get us all off our high horses.
That's right.
So you get to a point where you can serve and get past all the things we use. A lot of things manipulate us. From skin colors, religion, there's a lot of things we use to manipulate. Money, status quo, classes, education, degrees. A lot of things manipulate people. People use these for cover up because it doesn't get people to see the real ideal of the person we are on the inside. There's a lot of things you can do to cover up. You move to different zone. What I do sometimes, I'm going to move and get off around these people. What I move and get around them people and I find I'm still the same person. So it wasn't the people. Moving didn't help. But it looks good though. It looks like you made a concerted effort to try to really do something different. But you just try to make a decision, try to make a move to try to cover up, to look like you were doing something different. So the word comes to convict all of us so we can see those things that we hide and we keep. After a while, you'll keep piling them up. It just get bigger and bigger. And after a while, you can't hide them no more. So we got an opportunity to look at it and do different. So now we look at going through without quitting and through conjunction, through consolation. There's got to be something in it for you. Get out of the mindset of, live, die, inherit later. That's true. But there's got to be something in it now. There's got to be something in there to keep me going.
Right.
See, there's got to be a motivation to get a man or woman to do right. The motivation to get right now. So later on, whenever it is down the road, maybe 100,000 years. No, it's not. I'm just being, just kind of using how we think sometimes. We don't know when it's going to be. Now we're seeing it being more evident that the world is closer to an end as ever been. If nobody ain't believed it before, we've seen it now. We've never seen this many disasters. We've never seen this many wars at one time. We've never seen this many nuclear weapons being moved on. In the 1960s, Russia and the U.S. with the Cuban crisis was the closest we ever seen. Closest anybody ever seen. That was the closest, and nobody had nuclear weapons aimed at each other. That was the closest. Everybody felt like the world would have ended then. Now, it can come from anywhere. But now it gets us to a point of looking at when we see the world ending, now it gives us a reason to sit back and really examine, really, where are you? Now, where are you? This is closer you ever seen. This is things that we heard our grandparents say years ago. Won't be long, he'll be coming back. And you look, you don't see nothing. I don't know what they were looking at. I don't know what they were using to judge it to say it won't be long. But I tell you what, anybody, even a fool can look and see it can't be much longer. We live in a world now where homosexuality, I mean, they dominate the whole realm of it. They dominate. They're the decision makers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They setting the standard for us. They're taking our kids, educating our kids. You know, in the 50s, 60s, 80s, it was unheard of that a homosexual could come to a school and sit down and read the kids with their legs open and no underwear. Never would, nobody ever could imagine. Somebody walked up and told her that in the 70s, they said, shut up, you talking stupid. That'll never happen. Can't say that now. Now you can say it'll never happen that a straight person will sit down and read to them.
Yeah.
And you'll be truthful. But that's where the world is going. And now we start sounding these things unchanged. We see that when we hadn't had the knowledge of, we see that thou of him, this is what happened. The only way you got here because you didn't have the knowledge of. Why you think that Ka'ur, who they call Eve, her name is life giver Ka'ur. Why y'all think Ka'ur actually ate of the ox, the tree? Not just because of her feelings and what she thought and her appetite, it's because you lack something. See, when you get a real da'af knowledge for him, that's a superiority, an understanding. And that's what we want to get because we're talking about exceeding. That's what we're trying to get with him. Y'all got it? Okay, so let's finish this up. So that consolation, which is a prize, and guess where we're going to find the prize at? It's of the writing. That's what we found out about the Berib, the covenant he made with Abraham, Yasakak, who they call Jacob. Who they call Isaac. His name means he laughed. That's what the name, because Sarah, when she found out she was pregnant with him, she laughed. So she named him Laugh. And then we got Jacob, the heel catcher, the son, because he came out, he was holding his brother's heel. So we got Jacob, the heel catcher. But these are the people that he made his berith with. Yeah. You know what you'll find with each one, all three of these men he made a berith with? Not one of these guys had works that could have proved themselves to Elohim. Not one. And that's how the writing, the Qatar, the Kitabim, plural, we might have Tikva, which is a chord. So now we'll go back, let's look at it. How about it? See if that's the 10th chapter of the book of 10. See if that's 11, the book of B Ra Shyth. They'll call it Genesis. B Ra Shyth. See if that's the 11th chapter. Drop down to, I don't know. Let me see 11 and 1 right quick. Maybe 12, let me see. I know 12 and 1, I'll probably get that later. There's a purpose. All right, B Ra Shyth. B Ra Shyth. He ain't going out. Goodness. Let's see, 11 and 1.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, listen.
Now the whole of Rise was of one language.
That's 11 and 1.
Yes, sir.
Drop down, give me 12. Oh, shoot. Let's see, 12 and 1. All right, listen.
Now Yahuah said to Abram, go forth for yourself from your country and from your relatives and from your Abba Bet to the Arise, which I shall show you.
Do me a favor, back me up to the 11th chapter, the last 3 verses of the 11th chapter. Because we done got to a point now where he just told him to go and do something. What's the last 3 verses? 30? All right, 11 and 30. Listen.
Sarah was barren, she had no Yalet. Terah took Abram his ben, and Lut the ben of Haran, the ben of his ben, and Sarah his brother-in-law, his ben Abram Ishah. And they went forth with them from the region of the Chaldeans to come in the Aras of Canaan. And they went to Karan and settled there.
Yes.
The Yamim of Terah were 205 Shanim, and Terah moved in Karan.
That's Abraham's father. Go ahead.
That's the end of it.
Okay, go ahead. 12 and 1.
Yes, sir. Now Yahuah said to Abram, go forth for yourself from your country and from your relatives and from your Abba Bet to the Aras, which I shall show you. And I shall make you for a great Gui, and I shall barak you and make your Shem great. And so you shall be a baraka.
And the reason why we're looking at this, and I started back, probably could have went up a little further in 11th chapter, is what we're trying to find is when he looked at starting a Gui, which is a nation. That's all a Gui is, a nation. They'll just say Gentile. A lot of times people hear Gentile, they automatically just start thinking of other nation, but we were also a Gui, which is a nation. All right, Yehuda was a Gui, there was a nation. So was Yasharal, there was a nation, there was a Gui. Y'all got it? So we look at other people, the Guims are nations. So we're looking at the nation, but this nation he was going to establish, he was serving them from somewhere. See, he separated this man from somewhere. His father, Torah, he let you know how long he lived. He told you about his brother. He told you about his sister. And it being his sister, like, just went through a lot of things. But one thing we couldn't find in the earlier writing is, what did Abraham do the reason he called him out? And that would have been what? Prayed all the time? Served him doing what? It was your favor. That's how you got it. He basically became the Abba, the father of favor. Conceived. He did absolutely nothing. See, he just told him, I'm going to make a great nation. So what was the nation that you came out of? That's it. I made a nation of people. And now that same nation of people, the Gui, is still been established according to that promise, that Berit. See, this thing that we call in favor is something that's always been here. It's always been here. He set it up for us now. And he took a man and served out a person and served out a man. And by him, he made a declaration that all of the Goyim of the Arats, that's all of the nations of the world, are going to be Baraka through you. They're going to receive a benefit through you. Hello?
Sure.
That's part of the favor. So we want to understand these things because we want to understand what is our relationship. Now, this ain't to take anything away from work, because there should be some proof and evidence of what it is that you believe. And that's going to be shown in behavior, different things that we do. Y'all got it? But understand that what he granted to us, it was favor. And he said, I did him a favor. And when I did him a favor, I established some things for him to happen. Let's jump on right quick and see if that's the 26th chapter of the book of B Ra Shyth. They call it Genesis 26. 26:1. Listen.
And there was a jam in the rock previous and it
Yeah.
occurred,
So this was number 2. He said one besides the first one. We don't have a lot of writings about it, but we know of one based off the second one. So guess what we just found out? The second one let us know about it. That the second one come, we probably never knew about the first one. When he told us about this one declared it was one before this one. Hello?
Sir.
Okay. Let's see what happened. Listen. Kind of similar with Yahushua, believe it or not. With Adam. Hello? Y'all gonna have to believe it. Adam coming allowed us to realize that there had been a son, or there was a son besides him. But the evidence of him coming, how much would we have known about Yahushua, the first son, besides had it not been for the second one? A lot of the writings that we know and we establish him in his position is because of the first one. We understand the correlation of how he came out from Elohim without the aid of a man because of Adam. So had it not been for that second son, we wouldn't have known about the first one. Y'all understand that? How would you understood the relationship? Had he not taken, Adam from the Adumah, from the ground? What aid of what man? That's the only way we accept the fact that Yahushua existed, was prevalent to us without the aid of a man. Because of the second one. Because the book declared when he brought him in, he said, let everything of Shekar worship, adore the firstborn. Yahushua was the firstborn. He was the firstborn. The only reason you know about it because of Adam, because of the second one. See, there are a lot of things that read it. Again, whatever was written for time, what was it written for? So what writing do you have about the first famine? The second one made you think about it. You learned, now you became inquisitive about the first one because of the second one. Because of the relationship we learned with Adam and Yahuah, the existing one, it made us inquisitive to say, what happened with the first one? Okay, come on.
So Yahuah went to Gerar to Abimelech, Malach of the Philistines.
Mm-hmm.
Yahuah appeared to him and said, do not go down to Mizraim.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in the rocks of which I shall say to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sojourn in this Arat, and I shall be with you and barak you. For to you and your Tuladath I shall give all these Arats,
Tell them why. Tell them about the works he did.
and I shall establish the oath with which I shabbat to your Abba, Abraham.
Listen.
I shall multiply your Tuladath as the Kukabim of Shamayim.
Your generation, like the kukah being like the stars in the heights, expansions. Tell me why, son.
And shall give to your Tuladath all these Arats, and by your Tuladath
All the lands. And by your generation,
all the Goim of the Arats shall be Baraka.
so that they're going to receive a benefit. Tell them why.
Because Abraham shaman to my call and obeyed my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my Torah.
Let me ask you a question. What did Yahuah do?
Okay.
And you ain't got to go nowhere. You ain't got to build nothing. See? Now he came along and gave another man favor by another man's labor. By another man complying, I've given you this. Then in doing so, I let you know that other Goyim's gonna be barak through you. Because now you're going to be complying with what I'm telling you to do. And I'm going to establish something with you for the fact that you hear with the intent to do.
Mm.
And because this coexists and it corresponds with a behavior I already recognize, I'm going to allow this favor to follow those that descend out from you.
Mm.
See, we've been busy trying to do something for some work that you can't do. I didn't want to count it to him. I'm gonna count it to you a different way. So here's a man, he came here and he established something with him with no labor of himself. Because Abraham performed something, but Abraham, look at his works, didn't do anything for him because he received it by favor. Yet what he did do wound up being beneficial to him. Look at us with what we call salvation, Yeshua. How you obtain it? And you're going to go look at Yahushua. By one man's work, all Goyim going to be barak.
Mm.
I'm going to store a benefit on everybody because of one man's work. What cross, what tooth did you hang on?
None.
What nails? What spit? What piercing in the side? Because another man did it. And now we come in and by us complying with that same ritual rites that they did and understanding it was given to us by favor and not by works. Now he'll establish another Goyim by it.
Mm.
He'll establish him. Listen, that's how he received it because of the works of Abraham. It was no works. He told her what Abraham did.
That's right.
But when Abraham got it, what works did he do to obtain it?
Mm.
None. But now the works he did perform become a benefit to him.
That's right.
And now by him complying became a benefit to Yaakov. And by Yaakov complying, that became a benefit to the 12 benim, the 12 sons. And by them complying and whom they set out from them, it came all the way to us.
That's right.
Now we sitting around and we can sit around and boast, you ain't gonna believe it, in other man's labor.
That's right.
We can make our boast in another man's labor. Yaakov can make it. Everybody's had to leave and go to the Malach of Gerar, what they call the king of Gerar. And yet he didn't have to go. He can make his boast off of the works of Abraham and not of himself. And the reason why we're looking at this is because it's at a point in time that people need to really understand how little you actually have stake in this. So now you got to put something in. Because you had nothing in it to get in it. That's the thing about it. Abraham didn't have nothing in it. Mm. No more than you got nothing in it. Mm. You're establishing, now you're doing something, and now what you're doing becomes a benefit to somebody else. Just like what they did, the rights were for our learning. Y'all see that? What they gave us for our learning. So I would have quit if it had been for other men's work. Not by me working, that's why I don't quit. No, it's because I'm reading other people's labor. I'm looking at other people and I'm benefiting from it. It's becoming a benefit to me. It's strengthening me. Other men that fail and women that fail, other men that stood, it's strengthening me, giving me a confidence and understanding. So now when I stand on it and somebody else, why? It becomes a benefit to them, but that don't benefit me to the end of my salvation because he'll never let it be a works. It's a con. But by me doing the works and somebody else watching it and somebody else seeing what's being exemplified, and they take hold to it, it strengthens them. So now it becomes a benefit to them from another man's labor. Okay. I think religion has did a lot of damage to us, to a point to where we never really sat down and looked at the importance of where we need to be. And that's getting past ourselves, getting past our hangups, getting past our own ideas and ideology, getting past everything we deal with. You know, everything we do in a day, in a week, a month, a year, everything we do. A lot of time we set ourselves to do things and we forget how much of a part he plays. You know, he put you in situations and put you into inconveniences. Like there's some people in the hospital right now, they had other plans, but so did he. There's some people in a car wreck right now, flipped over. You ain't gonna believe it, they had some other plans. They left and told somebody, saying, I'm finna get ready to go home. That's what they thought, but he had some other plans. So you start looking at things like, how much do you really play a part in things going the way that you say? How much real part do you really play in that? Absolutely none. It's cause somebody favored. He let one make it home, he cut another one off. That's just, it ain't a thing where you can sit down like this and say, it's the luck of the draw. No, it's con. So it gives you the sense of the importance of, I need to please this man. Because I don't really play a whole part in what I'm doing. Hey, y'all ever roll by an accident scene? I remember I seen one time, I was a truck driver then, and this car flipped up and I was going so everything was blocking. I was so pissed. I was like, these stupid people. People, you know, it was just a mess. I kept getting held up. I couldn't get out from the dock in time. And I was so mad the entire time until I got to this accident. And I seen this accident. And it's like he just hit me with a ton of bricks. Said, had you left on time, had those stupid people not held you up, this was gonna be you. And I just sat there and all I could do was just think. I felt so, because I was pissed. I was pissed with the people holding me up from the time. I was pissed with everybody until I got to that accident. And when I got there, I felt like a stupid fool. Because, you know, he let me see, this was waiting on you. And I put all these ventures in front of you to keep you from being there. Everything you fought, if it had went with what your mouth was saying, this would have been you. And that person was dead. So you know how much humility I took on that point. That really make you humble. You really just say, I just need to shut my mouth, which you ain't from now on out. So you'll be talking a couple of minutes after you get past, then you get over it. That's just people. So periodically, he has to allow things to happen in our life just to show us how much you don't play a part of things, how much you really don't influence things the way you're thinking, how much you really not in control of the way of things that you're thinking. He controls everything. See, for us, we want to be in control of, and you realize, I gave it to you. That's why you're here. You was in control before you came here. So we thought. And when we was in control, what kind of decision did we make? When you were picking your people, your friend, what kind of people did you pick? What are people at now that you would like this with? See, when the word comes, it shows you a divide. It's a separation. Because everybody not really true to the fact that they're making sure my soul's saved.
That's right.
I only came here for one reason, that to make sure I'm right.
That's right.
Everything else is secondary. That's just being honest. Everything else in my life is secondary when it comes down to it. And when you set your mind to say salvation is primary and what you're going to do, it's going to cost you something. Don't let anybody lie. It's going to cost you something. I tell you, even the kitchen, go take the kitchen sink and set it out first. People used to say everything and the kitchen sink, unbolt the kitchen sink first. Then start with everything else. If you do the kitchen sink last, you're going to be in trouble. Go ahead and start last. Take the kitchen sink and throw it outside. So I already done throw that out. Now everything else got to go. But whatever reason, that's the last thing they said to get rid of. So it gets us to a mind of just really looking at things and making sure we have a real relationship. That's why we go back to look at people who he established relationships with. Not on my pastor. I know my pastor had, well, your pastor relationship ain't written that we have to hold to this like concrete that we use for our belief. So when we use something that we're going to use for our belief and we're going to establish our not, they're going to call faith, our stability, I got to use people that's got the time, they've been time tested and proven. See, these people time tested and proven. Abraham ain't in a state where he can fall away. He held hills to the end. We're still living to do that. So a lot of times we use people now, when people fall, he'll let people fall in front of you just so you get your eyes off of them.
Yeah.
I don't use nobody for no focal point. I use him. Let me tell you, when it comes to people, people got choices. People got their own mind, and it's all about how far they really want to go.
That's right.
And you'll put it, people, I thought that killed me. I assure you, nobody far away had no life taken from me.
That's right.
That's just where you at. This life, people in a different place. Some people run here because they're trying to get out of a situation. For me, I was trying to get out of a situation, everlasting situation.
Yeah.
So that put me to a situation. That put me to a point where I can't leave because I'm still trying to work out my situation. Some people it might be a woman. I got a man beating them and I need to get out. Ain't no shelter. So I'm gonna run to the Lord. You know, some people, man, might be I'm on drugs and rehab. Want to take my family, want to get rid of me. They cut me out. So I need to run to the church so my family to deal with me longer. A family to look at me, they gotta have mercy on me. But when you do this gotta be something you gotta do for yourself. It's gotta be bigger than people. It's got to be something that's personal. And when it's personal, people say, well, it's for me, my kids, my wife, and everything. First thing I tell you, leave all them people alone.
Yeah.
Work on self first. When you start picking up all these people, you're going to have problems. Now you got to care all these people. Then you got to try to make sure these people stay secure. And what only person I can make sure and I can do for the little strength I got is self.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to carry no family. I ain't trying to make no belief for nobody else. I'm not trying to be no salvation. It's all I can do to get there for myself.
Come on.
And he established it that way. It ain't enough way you can give it to somebody else. That's why and we learned that when he came down, when he fed them from the manna. Manna mean what? Because they don't know what it was, but I know they ate it.
Yeah.
I know they were black. When you hungry, you don't care what they call it, you hungry.
Right.
They say, you want something? What? You know I'm hungry. That's what they call it, what? Ain't that right? Ain't how they like, can't believe you asked. But when he gave it to him, he gave every man a what?
One home.
One home, according to what?
Family.
So he gave you enough for you, your children, and to all them that are fall. He was trying to show them then. If your kid, you need to get your own. He wanted them to know what I give you is for you. Everybody who want it, they need to get their own. You can't chew it for them. You can't swallow it for them like a baby and take it back out. When you do, you ain't got nothing for yourself. That's what they learn. Every man, he said, I want every man to have a home. To realize the importance of every man for himself. That ain't forgetting other people. When it came down to it, I only gave enough for you.
Yeah.
And you need to understand, it's on enough for you. Listen, if he saw fit to save me and not the rest of my family, it's unfortunate. I just know he chose me. I got to make it in. I ain't giving up nothing to get to nobody else. They ain't real with nobody else done it.
That's right.
I'm flat-footed with it. They say Yahuah gave it up. I guarantee you be telling a lie. Because the man saved himself.
Yeah.
He didn't save himself. And in fact, he complied with all Elohim told him to do.
Come on.
That was salvation in him.
That's right.
Why would he say you won't leave my nefesh in Sheol, my soul in Sheol?
That's right.
Because I know I've done the works.
That's
I know
right.
I proved out to show myself that what you gave me.
Yes, sir.
So he didn't only just save you. It wouldn't make sense. He couldn't save himself, and he saved you. He even told you they were going to say to him, physician, heal thyself. Because people look, how you going to save somebody you can't save yourself? See, people look, it's not practical. People say, I'd die for my mama. I'd die and go to hell with my kid. That's a dangerous statement. I can't go nowhere for you. That's a choice. You got to make that for yourself.
That's right.
And he put it that way because every man, you need to secure your own. You know how many people have become salvation for their family? Become salvation for their husband and wife? Not me. I hug my wife. I love her. Ain't no salvation for it. She said this ain't something she want to do. This ain't what she want to do. And we going to be separated.
Yeah.
Everybody different now. He did say that, and that's the truth. He said the unbeliever, if he be pleased to dwell with the unbeliever, I ain't pleased to dwell with no unbeliever.
That's right.
You're no. I got to make it in. You gonna weigh on me. I ain't gonna be able to do it. You gonna weigh by me coming in them pork chop frying. And that thing man around get smothered.
That's right.
But coming up with some nice shrimp pasta land on that stove. Gave up. No. Said, no, I ain't pleased to be here. That stuff get humming down the street, man. You can't let that stuff go. I ain't gonna tell no lie. I probably still get weak for a bucket of chili. So I don't want to mess up and lose out. Listen, they ain't that bad. You just gotta eat them right. If you eat them right, you don't smell them. That means in a hurry. But I'm just saying, things are well on you, but some people can do well with what he gives them. Know what fits you. A lot of times, you gotta know everything don't fit you. And that right, everything don't go well with you. When it comes to your salvation, you got to know what you can take.
Come on. That's right.
Y'all hear me?
That's right.
I used to have a bishop years ago. Well, he was a bishop. I met him before he died. And I wound up moving the movement after, he had passed. And he tell people every time I like put the kids out, do stuff. He said, well, you do what you can take. They asked him what they mean. He said, if you can sleep with them out there, knowing that, he said, you do what you can take. He said, now you know it's gonna be weighing on you to be out there with, let them out there. He said, then you can't take it. He said, so you do what you can take. See, this now I disagree with him. For the fact of you gotta do not what you can take. You gotta do what's gonna secure your salvation.
Come on.
Because there's a lot of stuff I can take. That don't mean I'm gonna be saved.
That's right.
Shoot, man, when I used to drink, I could drink by the 12 pack. Ain't gonna be watering them down like some folk told a lot they drink a case in 3 hours. And all. No, I used to get, man, I could take down by the 12 pack. I ain't gonna stagger. I'm gonna be feeling pretty good now. Cause that's what I could take. Now the question becomes, now will that save me?
No, sir.
So that's why I don't agree with do what you can take. There's a lot of stuff you can take that don't make you saved.
That's right.
See, that then you weigh things differently when you start looking at what's gonna put me in the parameter of being saved. That ain't gonna set well with salvation when I'm seeking, and this situation don't fit it. I ain't gonna be able to take that. Y'all got it? There's a lot of stuff. There's some women can sit around, they can take a man beating on them, because then they look at, well, it's either beat on me or I go live in the street. Y'all know if women do that, let a man beat on them and stay there, because they look at, I can take that. Because I don't want to be homeless, I can't work, I don't know how to work, I ain't never worked, so I can take him beating on me, mistreatment, because I can take that. Does that make it right?
No.
Don't do what you can take. Do what make you saved.
That's right.
See, now everybody, now you're gonna do what everybody gonna be saved or do. You ain't gotta wonder what everybody saved would do the same thing.
That's right.
Hello? Let's see. 1 Corinthians right quick. I'm trying to 1 Corinthians 1 and 10. I appreciate the Most High.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, being who he is.
Yes, sir.
Let's see what happens. This is 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 10. Listen.
I hereby exhort you, my king.
That's exhort, EXHORT. That's warn. Is that what it said? Yeah, that's warn. And say exalt. Isn't that right? They're gonna be, I exhort you, then I'm warning you. Let's see what happens.
My king, by the shem of our done.
Thy king, the brethren, by the Mashiach, by the anointed one. You said by the shem of our done, our master.
Yahushua, HaMashiach.
That's right. That's our salvation. That's the anointed one. What happened?
To be all of you here at once, and there shall be no divisions among you. But we prepare together with one law and with one counsel.
Well, now you think about this. Now, in the King James perversion, I call it perversion because they got different intent, but he said they all speak the same thing. He said that you all be in the same place. And that would more or less put you kind of on the same platform. See, a lot of time at being together, that's true. They said birds of a feather, what they do? Y'all ever seen some blue jays and robins flying out together?
No.
They don't do it. You'll see blue jay with each other and crows with each other. You don't see no hawk and no what's called them? Eagles. Crows, eagles. That's tight. Let me get that check, big man. I wouldn't even think about it. No, come on, big man. I need to check. That what you had to get on and holler out them wrong answer. So now when you look at it, now when you're looking at it, you start to consider. Now, with them being in one place, it will be similar to having the same understanding of doing things. See, how we looked at things is what you do is a reflection of what you know. Just like when he taught me in the 4th chapter of the book of Allah Dabarim, that they call Deuteronomy, these are the words. That's why he wanted them to keep the Torah. He said, because this is your wisdom in the sight of the Goyim of the nations. When these people see you, they're going to say, isn't this a wise Goyim? And they were going to realize that you showed a wisdom. I think which is hakam is the word that you're going to look at. For hakam is that wisdom, showing that wise, showing how witty you are. The fact that you were able to keep and comply with some when they see you. They were going to start to judge you by that because they were going to judge you by your works. So now he telling them that they all, what we said, speak the same thing, that they all be in the same place. So you think about and that's sometimes people say you in a good place and you want other people in a good place. You want everybody to have the same perspective. You want everybody to have the same idea about things. And when you do that, that keeps down division. Now, one thing we can look at, we'll look at Yahuah and we'll look at Yahuah. Yahuah and Yahuah were together at one time. Wasn't it? When Solomon, who they call Solomon, ruled over. But after Solomon had moved, after he died, then what happened? His son Rehoboam took over. Now, when Rehoboam came in, he sat down in my spot, judgment. He said, well, I'll tell y'all about me. I don't think my daddy was tough enough on y'all. And I tell you what, my little finger gonna be thicker than his loins. Now, Solomon had 1,000 women. That's tight. But anyway, move forward. Yeah, food for thought. I know he wasn't much more. Anyway, but so now with that, when he sat down my spot to tell them how he was going to rule them, Yahuah split off. They broke off. We only know them as Yahuah, as one people. But when that happened, Yahuah separated. And they stayed with the Beth of Dawood, with the house of Dawood. But Yahuah cut off and they split. And you know what happened with them? They weren't in the same place now.
Right.
So you understand that being in the same place? Because they didn't separate the state together.
No, sir.
They told them, see to your own best.
That's right.
So when he came back to tell us about us being in one place, that's not hard to understand.
Right.
To come back with the same ideology of one mind. So one mind with him would be wherever he at. When Yahuah said that he went away to prepare a place for us, for what reason? Now where he is, now what kind of minded people gonna be where he at? Like-minded people gonna be in the same place. Who crackhead be with? Non-drug users?
No.
They're gonna be with crackheads. So now you say, I want y'all to be in one place. So y'all got it, which means y'all have the same mind. Y'all have the same ideology. Y'all have the same judgment in what you're doing. And you gotta be with people like that. It keeps you, it more or less builds you up. So when you look like it get weak, well, you got to start looking at people that got the same mindset. They're looking for the same opportunity. We're looking for salvation. And you got to be, a lot of times people will come in, this is what you do. You keep too strong a relationship with people outside. I got a business partner. We do pretty good. Big him a nerve now. He breathed too hard. I told him he's too fat. He breathe. I tell him. I just know that's man, he's fat. He's able to drive the car. We had Ted drive. That thing needs to work on. He said, I ain't here. I said, because you fat. As you breathe so hard, you can't hear. He said, I had the window down. I said, there's more trouble. Your fat breathing in that air coming in that window. As a roll the one up and quit breathing, you'll hear it. Anyway, I try to be nice with people. And Prince, you got a check coming. So now, with that being said, you're really trying to look at how close a relationship you keep with people. I've been the part of people I do business with that's not of the same, religious aspect of what I deal with, but I learn how to keep things in perspective. I know what we do and how far we go. I don't go visit I don't go nowhere out. We ain't going no hanging out. We ain't doing that because I'm not interested. I do business. Y'all know what I'm saying? This is my life. So there are things you do outside, but sometimes people, I just use that for business. Sometimes people try to keep old friends and folks hung up in there. You got to know where you at.
That's right.
Because he said, if any man be in the Mashiach, you ain't going to believe him. And old thing supposed to be, and all things supposed to be.
That's right.
I just still keep with my old ones, though. That's because you ain't new. You just the creature. See that right? That's how you just the creature. Ain't that right? And it could be from the lagoon. So all these things you need to consider. So at the end of the day, the only thing we're trying to look at and make sure we understand where we're supposed to be. We want to make sure we understand, acknowledge what it is he's trying to get us to do. Y'all got it? Because I told you, I look at everything he gives me as an ideal. You don't have to take it, but then consider your latter end when you don't. I look at it being beneficial for the fact that those that adhered to it, stuck fast, held to it, I look at the benefit they got from it. That's how I look at it when people look at blessing. We look at Baraka, it's a benefit. Like certain jobs, you say, man, this thing come with this and this. These are called benefits, perks on top of. Y'all got it, perks on top of pay. That's what he gets, it's a benefit. He said, these are benefits I'm giving you besides the pay. And these are the things we're trying to look at in order to receive them. Then you got to understand, what is he trying to get me to comply with? What's the importance of me taking this counsel? But you prepare together with one heart, and with one counsel. We take one recommendation. When Yasharal and Yahuah split, it because somebody took somebody else's counsel. That's how important that you can't. He told you if Kataim entice thee, you got to look at where people heart at. They're trying to get you to do stuff. When people trying to get you to pull you out, where your heart at? What kind of servitude you have? So how important is salvation? Y'all know y'all don't. You just take what people give you. How important salvation is in you when you make these comments, when you make these decisions, when you say, look, where you at with your salvation? Where you at in your living? Because people don't want to ask that because people don't want to offend people, or is it you don't want to get offended because you ain't where you need to be? Think before you react. Y'all got it?
Yes, sir.
That's two. Give me a hand clap. Appreciate the Most High. Get ready to take up a little money, get ready so we can get out of here. Appreciate it.